First Contact Folly. The Nexian Empire's flagship, Star Sovereign, emerged from hyperspace in a cascade of purple energy, its crystalline hull refracting starlight across the void. Admiral Venexa stood at the command center, her bioluminescent markings pulsing with anticipation as her fleet of 30 vessels assumed attack formation. After centuries of unchallenged expansion, the Nexians had mastered the art of first contact, or more precisely, first conquest. Unknown vessel detected at bearing 347, announced first sensor crawl, his tentacles working across the organic control interface. Primitive construction. Their hull appears to be basic titanium carbon composite. Energy signatures suggest rudimentary fusion drives. Venex's facial ridges lifted in amusement. Another technological infant, ripe for integration into the Empire. The ship in question hung against the backdrop of stars. A sleek vessel painted midnight black with simple markings identifying it as the EES Horizon. Its design was elegant but seemingly unsophisticated, exactly the kind of prey the Nexians preferred. Initiate standard contact protocols, Venexa commanded. Let's see how quickly they surrender when faced with true technological superiority. Aboard the EES Horizon, Captain Sarah Chen watched the Nexian fleet with calculated interest. Her bridge crew maintained perfect composure, though the corner of her XO's mouth twitched slightly as their sensors registered the approaching vessels. "They're scanning us with third-generation quantum resonance technology," Lieutenant Park reported from the science station. "The mimetic field is holding perfectly. They're seeing exactly what we want them to see." Chen nodded, her dark eyes reflecting the holographic tactical display. Humanity had spent decades preparing for this moment, watching as the Nexians systematically absorbed or destroyed dozens of emerging civilizations. Each conquest following the same pattern: detect, intimidate, subjugate. Their arrogance had become their blindness. Incoming transmission. Communications Officer Rivera announced. Standard electromagnetic broadcast. They're not even trying to hide their technological signature. "Put it through," Chen ordered, settling into her command chair. The voice that filled the bridge carried the familiar tone of assumed superiority that human intelligence had documented countless times before. "Unidentified vessel, you have entered space claimed by the Nexian Empire. Our scans indicate your technological development falls well below acceptable standards for independent spacefaring races. Prepare to be boarded and assessed for integration into our civilization. Resistance would be unfortunate." Chen exchanged knowing looks with her bridge crew. Beneath the Horizon's seemingly primitive exterior lay humanity's most advanced warship, a culmination of centuries of hidden technological development. The vessel's true hull was composed of quantum-locked metamaterials, its power core harnessing energy from artificial microscopic universes. Every system, every weapon, every defense mechanism remained invisible to Nexian scanning technology, masked by revolutionary phantom field generators. "This is Captain Sarah Chen of the Earth exploration ship Horizon," she responded, allowing a hint of nervousness to color her voice. "We are on a peaceful mission of scientific discovery. We mean no intrusion into your territory." The Nexian admiral's laugh echoed through the bridge. "Scientific discovery. Your vessel's capabilities barely exceed early space-age technology. You will submit to immediate boarding, or we will demonstrate the consequences of defiance." Chen's finger hovered over a hidden control panel as she watched the Nexian fleet move into attack formation. Humanity had waited patiently, building their strength in secret while establishing a vast network of hidden outposts throughout the galaxy. They had protected countless developing civilizations from Nexian aggression, always staying in the shadows, always maintaining the illusion of technological inferiority. That patience was about to pay off. "Final warning. Primitive vessel," the Nexian admiral declared. "Submit or face immediate disciplinary action." Chen straightened in her chair, her voice dropping its false uncertainty. "Actually, Admiral, I believe it's time we offered you a warning of our own." She nodded to her tactical officer. Disengage phantom protocols. Let's show them what human technology really looks like. The horizon's transformation began at a quantum level. The mimetic field dissolved, revealing layer upon layer of technology that defied Nexian understanding. The ship's hull shifted like liquid metal, weapon ports, and sensor arrays emerging from seemingly solid surfaces. Energy readings that had appeared barely above civilian levels suddenly spiked beyond anything Nexian sensors could comprehend. On the Star Sovereign's bridge, Admiral Venex's bioluminescence flickered in shock as her sensor officers reported readings that should have been impossible. The primitive vessel had vanished, replaced by something that challenged everything the Nexians believed about technological progression. The true first contact between humanity and the Nexian Empire was about to begin, and nothing in the galaxy would ever be the same. The veil drops. The bridge of the Star Sovereign descended into chaos as sensor readings cascaded beyond measurable scales. Admiral Venex's luminescent patterns flashed erratically, a clear sign of distress in her species, as she watched the supposedly primitive human vessel undergo its metamorphosis. Impossible. First, Sensor Crowl's tentacles writhed across his console. The energy signatures. They're orders of magnitude beyond our theoretical limits. The hull composition isn't registering on any known material scale. The EES horizon now hung in space like a predator revealed, its true form a masterpiece of engineering that made the Nexian fleet's crystalline vessels look like children's toys. The midnight black hull now rippled with subtle patterns of light that seemed to bend the very fabric of space around it. Target their weapons systems, Captain Chen commanded, her voice carrying the weight of years of preparation. Non-lethal disablement only. Let's show them what happens when they judge a species by its cover. The Horizon's response came not as traditional weapons fire, but as a series of precisely calculated quantum field manipulations. Invisible waves of altered space-time rolled out from the human ship, engulfing the Nexian fleet. On each crystalline vessel, weapon systems simply ceased to function, their molecular structure temporarily reorganized at the quantum level. By the first light, Venexa whispered, watching as her fleet's primary weapons went dark. All ships, emergency protocols, launched stellar torpedoes. But the torpedoes never left their tubes. The Horizon had already accounted for secondary weapon systems, neutralizing them with the same elegant precision. The entire Nexian battle fleet, terror of 1,000 worlds, hung powerless in space. Channel open, Captain. Lieutenant Rivera reported from his communication station. They're receiving on all frequencies. Chen stood from her command chair, her posture radiating calm authority. Admiral Venexa, I believe it's time we had an honest conversation about the balance of power in this galaxy. Your empire has spent centuries bullying developing civilizations, judging their worth based on your own limited understanding of technology. That ends today. As if to emphasize her point, the Horizon began projecting a series of holographic displays visible to every Nexian ship. They showed scenes from dozens of worlds, civilizations the Nexians had conquered or destroyed, but from a perspective they had never seen. Hidden human outposts watching their conquests, gathering intelligence, protecting other emerging species in secret. Those primitive races you've been subjugating, Chen continued. They were under our protection. Every conquest, every integration into your empire, we were there, watching, learning, understanding exactly how your technology worked, and more importantly, how to neutralize it. On the Star Sovereign, Venex's tactical officers worked frantically to restore their weapons, but the quantum-level changes the Horizon had implemented proved impossible to reverse with Nexian technology. The Admiral's mighty flagship, capable of reducing continents to ash, now had less offensive capability than a mining vessel. Why? Venexa finally managed to transmit. If you possessed such power, why hide? Why allow us to? She trailed off, the implications of human technological superiority beginning to sink in. Because true advancement isn't just about technology, Chen replied, her voice carrying a hint of sadness. "It's about wisdom. Every species develops at its own pace, finds its own path to the stars. Your empire's mistake was assuming that all advancement must follow your pattern, match your understanding of physics and engineering." The Horizon's sensors detected multiple hyperspace signatures as the rest of the Nexian fleet responded to their flagship's distress calls. Chen allowed herself a small smile. "Your reinforcements are about to discover something interesting, Admiral. You're not the only ones who've been hiding their true capabilities." As if on cue, space itself seemed to ripple around the gathered ships. Where empty void had been moments before, dozens of human vessels shimmered into existence, their phantom fields dropping in sequence. Each represented a different approach to space travel, different solutions to the same problems that had plagued all spacefaring races. Some bent space, others slipped between dimensions, while still others manipulated time itself to achieve their goals. "Humanity chose to remain hidden," Chen explained, "because we understood something your empire never grasped. True power isn't about domination. It's about protection. Those primitive races you dismissed, each has the potential to discover things neither humans nor Nexians have imagined. But only if they're given the chance to develop naturally, without interference from conquering empires." The arriving Nexian reinforcements found themselves as quickly and elegantly neutralized as the First Fleet. Each human ship employed different methods, demonstrating mastery over principles of physics the Nexians had never even theorized. "So now, Admiral," Chen's voice carried across space to every Nexian vessel, "we have a choice to make. Your empire can continue its current path, in which case humanity will have no choice but to actively oppose you, or we can begin discussions about a new approach to galactic civilization. One that respects the development of all species, that understands that different paths to the stars are not only valid but vital to our collective future." The silence that followed stretched across space, heavy with the weight of centuries of history about to change. The Nexian Empire faced its first real challenge, and the galaxy held its breath, waiting to see how they would respond. Tables turned. Admiral Venexa stood motionless on her bridge, her luminescent patterns now pulsing slowly, a sign of deep contemplation among her species. Around her, the command crew of the Star Sovereign watched in stunned silence as more human ships continued to emerge from their perfect camouflage, each one demonstrating capabilities that shouldn't have been possible according to Nexian understanding of physics. "Send visual feed to my private display," she commanded softly. The organic screens before her filled with images of the human fleet. Each vessel was unique, some seemingly drawing power from artificial quantum singularities, others manipulating dark energy in ways the Nexians had only theorized about. But what truly caught her attention were the subtle signs of protective technology woven through their designs, not weapons of conquest, but shields meant to preserve and defend. "Admiral," First Sensor Krell reported, his voice unusually subdued, "we're detecting additional anomalies throughout our claimed territory. The humans, they've been everywhere." The holographic displays projected by the EES horizon shifted, now showing a vast network of hidden human outposts scattered throughout what the Nexians had considered their exclusive domain. Each station had been perfectly concealed, watching, protecting, gathering intelligence. Captain Chen's voice carried across space once more. "For every world your empire conquered, we established multiple observation posts. For every species you deemed primitive, we maintained protective cordons. Your expansion wasn't a demonstration of superiority, Admiral. It was a test, one your empire has consistently failed." The tactical display on the Star Sovereign suddenly blazed with new data as hidden human installations revealed themselves across thousands of light years. Stealth stations in asteroid fields, quantum-cloaked satellites orbiting occupied worlds, dimensional pocket observatories studying Nexian fleet movements. The scale of human operations was staggering. "How?" Venexa finally asked, her question carrying layers of meaning. How had they hidden so completely? How had they advanced so far beyond Nexian understanding? Because we remembered our own history, Chen replied. Humanity nearly destroyed itself multiple times before reaching the stars. We learned the hard way that technological advancement without ethical evolution leads to catastrophe. When we finally achieved faster-than-light travel, we discovered your empire already dominating this sector of space. We had a choice: confront you directly or work in secret to protect others from following your path. The Horizon's sensors detected power fluctuations throughout the Nexian fleet as their engineers attempted to restore weapons capabilities. Chen watched with something approaching sympathy as each attempt failed against human quantum locks. Your scientists are probably realizing something interesting about now, she continued. The technology we're using to neutralize your weapons, it's based partly on principles we learned from species you conquered. That primitive civilization in the Helix cluster. Their understanding of quantum entanglement surpassed both human and Nexian science. The nomads of the Carina Drift. They had insights into dark energy manipulation that our physicists are still trying to fully comprehend. Ven X's facial ridges contracted, the Nexian equivalent of a frown. Those species were barely capable of interplanetary travel. Their technology was... She trailed off as new data scrolled across her displays. Different, Chen finished for her. Not inferior, just different. Every race approaches the challenges of space travel uniquely. Some focus on physical sciences, others on biological integration, still others on consciousness transfer or dimensional manipulation. By forcing everyone to follow your technological path, your empire has been stifling innovation across the galaxy. Throughout the Nexian fleet, crews watched in growing understanding as the human ships demonstrated technology that combined multiple approaches to space travel. Vessels that used biological components alongside quantum computers, ships that merged consciousness transfer technology with traditional propulsion, stations that existed partially in other dimensions while maintaining physical presence. We're not here to conquer or subjugate, Chen explained. Humanity's goal has always been to preserve diversity, of thought, of development, of innovation. Your empire's uniformity is its greatest weakness. You've created a monoculture of technology that's left you vulnerable to exactly the kind of quantum manipulation we're using right now. A new series of holograms appeared, showing worlds where species developed free from Nexian interference, protected by hidden human stealth fields. Their advancement followed wildly different paths, each contributing unique perspectives to the understanding of the universe. So here's our proposal, Chen said, her voice carrying the authority of a civilization that had mastered the art of hidden influence. A complete restructuring of how spacefaring races interact. No more conquests, no more forced integration. Instead, we create a network of protected development zones, allowing each species to advance at their own pace in their own way. The bridge of the Star Sovereign had grown eerily quiet as the implications became clear. The Nexian Empire hadn't been expanding through superior space. They had been operating within boundaries humanity had secretly established, their every move observed and analyzed. And if we refuse? Venexa asked, though her tone suggested she already knew the answer. Then we stop being passive observers, Chen replied simply. The technology we're using to disable your weapons, that's a fraction of our defensive capabilities. We've spent centuries preparing for this conversation, Admiral. The choice is yours, but understand, the era of Nexian expansion is over, one way or another. Hidden Guardians. The tension in space crystallized as Admiral Venexa faced the most significant decision in Nexian history. Around her flagship, the combined might of humanity's hidden fleet held position. Each vessel a testament to technologies that challenged everything the Nexians believed about scientific progression. Show me, Venexa finally transmitted. Show me these protected worlds you claim we've overlooked. Captain Chen nodded to her science officer, who initiated a series of deep space transmissions. The void between the assembled ships filled with holographic representations of dozens of star systems, each one carefully hidden from Nexian detection through advanced quantum camouflage technology. The Meridian Cluster, Chen began, as the first system materialized in stunning detail. Home to a species you dismissed as pre-industrial because they showed no interest in metallic technology. What you never discovered was their mastery of organic computing. Living crystals that process information through light itself. The hologram zoomed in on a planet where massive crystalline structures pulsed with bioluminescent patterns, each one a naturally grown supercomputer that operated on principles even humanity was still struggling to fully comprehend. Hidden human satellites maintained a protective barrier around the entire system, their quantum fields redirecting Nexian scout ships for centuries. The Veil Nebula colonies, another display, showed a series of worlds shrouded in iridescent gases. 3 different species developing in harmony, each approaching space travel through unique applications of consciousness transfer technology. Your Empire's scouts passed within light years of their worlds dozens of times, never detecting the civilizations evolving behind our protective screens. On the Star Sovereign's bridge, First Sensor Krell's tentacles trembled as he processed the readings. Captain, these energy signatures, some of these species are utilizing natural phenomena we considered impossible to harness. Exactly, Chen confirmed. Your Empire's rigid approach to technological development created blind spots, massive gaps in scientific understanding that other races have naturally filled. Humanity's role has been to protect these alternative paths of advancement, preserving the galaxy's intellectual diversity. The displays shifted again, revealing a vast network of human stealth outposts. Some phased between dimensions, others bent light and space around themselves, while still others existed in quantum superposition, simultaneously present and absent. Each represented a different solution to the challenge of hidden observation. Our greatest achievement wasn't developing superior technology, Chen explained, her voice carrying pride not in dominance, but in protection. It was learning to recognize and preserve the potential in others. Every species approaches the universe uniquely. Some see patterns we miss, others understand fundamental forces in ways we never considered. A new hologram appeared, showing a complete map of human preservation activities throughout known space. The scale was staggering. Thousands of worlds under protection, each developing along its own path, their innovations carefully documented and protected by humanity's hidden guardians. Your Empire's fundamental mistake, Chen continued, was assuming that technological advancement follows a single, predictable path. That civilizations must progress from mechanical to quantum, from physical to energy-based technology in a linear fashion. The reality is far more complex and beautiful. Admiral Venexo watched as the displays showed species after species, each demonstrating approaches to science and technology that defied Nexian classification. Some had developed space travel through biological means, evolving natural abilities to fold space. Others had discovered ways to transfer consciousness through quantum fields, achieving interstellar travel without conventional ships. We're offering your Empire a chance to be part of something greater, Chen said, her tone softening. Imagine a galaxy where different approaches to technology coexist and complement each other, where the rigid structure of Nexian engineering could work alongside the organic computing of the Meridian species, or the consciousness-based travel of the Veil colonies. The human fleet's formation shifted slightly, their movements demonstrating an elegant synchronization of different technological approaches. Some ships phased through space-time, others rode quantum fields, while still others seemed to guide the very fabric of reality around themselves. Your scientists must have already noticed something about our ships, Chen observed. Each one operates on slightly different principles. We've learned to combine various technological approaches, incorporating insights from dozens of species. That's the future we're offering, not subjugation, but synthesis. In the silence that followed, the Nexian admiral studied the holographic displays with new understanding. Her empire had spent centuries believing they were the pinnacle of advancement, never realizing they were operating within a carefully maintained sanctuary, their actions monitored and contained by a civilization that had chosen protection over dominance. The choice before you isn't just about your empire's future, Chen concluded. It's about the future of all spacefaring races. We can continue as we are, with humanity actively constraining Nexian expansion, or we can work together to create something unprecedented. A galaxy where technological diversity is celebrated and protected, where every path to the stars is recognized as valuable. The next moments would determine whether the galaxy entered a new age of cooperation or faced a conflict between two fundamentally opposed philosophies of civilization. New dawn. Admiral Venex's luminescent patterns stabilized into a slow, steady pulse, a sign of resolution among her species. For nearly an hour, she had studied the evidence humanity had presented, watching recordings of civilizations developing along paths the Nexian Empire had never considered possible. You speak of protection and preservation, she transmitted finally, her voice carrying a new note of humility. But what of progress? How can advancement occur in isolation? Captain Chen smiled, gesturing to her communications officer. The holographic displays shifted once more, but this time they showed something unexpected. Meetings between different protected species, carefully orchestrated by human guardians. We never said isolation was the goal, Chen explained. When civilizations reach certain developmental milestones, we facilitate controlled contact. Not conquest, not forced integration, but genuine cultural and technological exchange. The displays showed representatives from dozens of species gathering in hidden locations throughout the galaxy. The Meridian crystal mines communing with consciousness-transferred beings from the Veil Nebula. Organic technology specialists from the Outer Rim sharing insights with quantum theorists from the core worlds. Your empire's approach was to absorb and homogenize, Chen continued. Ours is to connect and diversify. Every species in these exchanges maintains their technological independence, while sharing insights with others who have achieved similar levels of understanding. Aboard the Star Sovereign, the Nexian crew watched in fascination as the displays revealed layer upon layer of hidden diplomatic channels, research exchanges, and collaborative projects, all occurring beyond their empire's detection. First light preserve us, Ven-Exo whispered. All this time, we thought we were expanding into empty space, bringing order to chaos. Instead, you were moving through a carefully maintained network of protected zones. Chen finished. But now you have a chance to be part of something greater. Your empire's technological achievements are impressive. They're simply not the only valid path to the stars. A new set of holograms appeared, showing potential futures. In one, human and Nexian ships patrol together, their different technologies complementing each other as they maintain protective cordons around developing worlds. In another, Nexian engineers worked alongside organic computing specialists from the Meridian cluster, creating hybrid technologies that exceeded the capabilities of either approach alone. We're not asking you to abandon your achievements, Chen explained. We're inviting you to expand your understanding of what achievement means. Your empire's expertise in crystalline technology could revolutionize organic computing. Your mastery of plasma containment could enhance consciousness transfer mechanics. But first, you have to accept that different doesn't mean inferior. Throughout the Nexian fleet, crews watched their admiral closely, knowing her next words would reshape their civilization's future. Ven-Exa's luminescence had settled into patterns that none of her crew had seen before. Combinations of colors that suggested deep transformation. If we agree, she transmitted carefully, what guarantees do we have? How can we be certain this isn't simply a more sophisticated form of conquest? Chen's response was immediate and direct. Because we're offering you something your empire has never offered others. Choice. Accept our proposal, and we'll gradually restore your weapons capabilities. Decline, and we'll simply continue as we have been, protecting developing civilizations from interference. The decision must be yours. Space itself seemed to hold its breath as Ven-Exa considered. Around her fleet, the human vessels maintained their position, each one a testament to different possible futures. Finally, the Admiral's luminescent patterns shifted to bright, clear colors, the Nexian equivalent of clarity achieved. Perhaps, she transmitted, her voice carrying the weight of centuries of history about to change. It is time for the Nexian Empire to learn what it truly means to be advanced. The response from the human fleet was immediate but measured. The quantum locks on the Nexian ship's secondary systems began to dissolve, though their primary weapons remained neutralized. A gesture of trust, balanced with practical caution. "Welcome," Chen replied, "to a larger universe." As the two fleets began the complex process of diplomatic integration, other ships emerged from hiding throughout known space, representatives from dozens of protected species, each bringing their own unique perspectives and technologies to the table. The galaxy was entering a new age, one where diversity of thought and approach would be celebrated rather than suppressed. The long vigil of humanity's hidden guardians was ending, replaced by something far more challenging and rewarding. The task of building a truly unified galaxy, where every path to the stars would be recognized, protected, and valued. In the depths of space, the combined fleets began their journey toward a future that none of them could have imagined alone, but that all of them would build together. The end.